I want to start off by thanking everybody who's been on this demonstration. I want to thank Naila in particular and Paul Jenkins for leading the campaign against Tommy Robinson. Naila probably didn't say this, but she was attacked in a chip shop for saying not being, I mean, sometimes it shocks me. I mean, how British do you have to be in a British chip shop to be saying have you integrated or not? I'm so proud that the black women have been the majority speakers on this meeting, because I think it reflects what our organisation is about in terms of making sure our organisation speaks up to make sure that people are given word. And I think what happened inside the Northwest was critical. The defeat of the BNP and Griffin and the defeat of Tommy Robinson was a critical international responsibility that we held, and it was carried by those people inside the Northwest. I'm so glad the race has been chased out of Liverpool, the defeat that took place inside Bolton. There's a collective movement. Black people, Jewish people, young and old, LGBT, they came together, and we have to remember that we did defeat them. We now face a crossroads. I will not lie to people here, and I think we faced the most dangerous moment that we've faced for many years. I think that in 2008, there was a crisis. I think the crisis around COVID is lethal to people. It's disproportionately lethal to black communities inside Britain. The economic hurricane that's coming, we face that as well in terms of the scapegoating. And we can see that scapegoating in terms of way that Petros talked about the most dispossessed in our society being denied the most basic rights. I never forget Aaron Kurdi being washed up on the shore and looking at it and thinking that could be our child, our friends, or whatever it is, and that those lives need to be saved. We can do something about this. And that's the reason why we've called an international conference on the 17th to 18th of October to celebrate change. And isn't it a disgrace in Black History Month that they talk about bringing back the prison ship, the slave ship, the history of imperialism, as a representative dealing with the most desperate people? And I just think it is, there's a man called Fredrick Douglas who said that they use racism to divide each to conquer both, in terms of they use it as a method that first affects people's lives, but in terms of what we should do about it. And I think we shouldn't forget that we are the majority. Despite that, I'm not one of those people that are sad that Donald Trump is, apparently he can put bleach in himself and forgive himself by UV light over COVID. So I'm not sorry for him. I think he deserves everything he gets in terms of the way that he's encouraged racism and fascism across this world. And I think we face a grave moment in terms of mobilizing the mass anti-racist movement to fight racism, Islamophobia, and anti-Semitism. And as part of that, I think we should make sure that we support the International Day on UN Anti-Racism Day on the 21st, and make sure that we mark that day for the elimination of racism across the world in terms of solidarity with the Black Lives Movement. And I think we're part of that. That's why we want to talk about decolonising. I was glad when Colston's statue took a swim inside Bristol. And when we think about the law now, I think that, we face a grave, if you look at Dominic Cummings, or Michael Gove. Michael Gove can admit to taking cocaine on several occasions, and he apologises for it. I suppose he could apologise in Latin, and I suppose that means that he can be forgiven for his crimes. I think we face a disproportionate government that's hostile to people and is intent on dividing people in order to have a way forward and introduce a discourse that is actually letting in the racist populist and letting those other groups come in. But again, I keep coming back to the question of what has given us solidarity. This is the anniversary of the defeat of the fascists at Cable Street, in terms of when working class movements came together in order to defeat those people that are against us. And I think that we have to remember that, and remember that our history is based on that form of unity and solidarity that leads to change. But also another thing is we have to redouble our leadership. Everything that's been said here, many of the speakers have made the right points and said exactly the same thing. But I do agree we now are in an emergency situation. We have a president, a prime minister, and movements across the world that are organising. And this conference is a brilliant example about how you can organise from the grassroots, you can network, and you can build on the victories that we've had. But more seriously, we need to concentrate on the new attempts to divide us, the conspiracy theories, the anti-Semitism of David Icke, the QAnon demonstrations that are taking place, that are drawing in new and more difficult movements and more diverse movements. We have to re-gear the movement, re-educate the movement, but more importantly, understand that if we do these things, if we organise in a systematic way, we stand in the tradition of those people that have come before us in terms of making sure that we've changed history in this country. The fascists are weak because of what we've done. You know, I think that we have to celebrate that. And celebration isn't about sitting down, it's about remembering. And I just want to remember somebody, Nita Sangira, who spoke sometimes at this conference. Nita Sangira was a UCU member, and she put forward the motion for the Stand Up to Racism motion. And she also, with that brilliant picture that was in the front page of The Guardian when Tommy Robinson marched. Sadly, she's no longer with us. Rest in power, Nita Singara from the TUC and the rest of it. It represents the best of our movement, the sisters that have led those movements. And I think we have to carry on that fight. We can win, we can fight, we can win because we've got solidarity and strength, but we now need to redouble our leadership. I want to thank all the speakers who have spoken here, and I'm both full of trepidation and excitement about the growth of the Black Lives Matter movement and what we can do so that the future generations don't face just the scourge of fascism and racism, but we actually start to build to change our world so that it's a world that everybody can live in peace. So solidarity, and let's keep this fight on and join us on the international conference. So thank you for that.